Hello everybody, and this is the 2015 Cotton Gin Parade in Boswick, Georgia. It's about to come on, and we'll let you see everything that's happening here at this particular parade, as we do it every year for you people who cannot attend, and it's always a great show for you to attend. I have the guy who is always by my side at the Cotton Gin Festival, Conrad Barnes, and we always tell you everything that you should know about the tractors, the other items that are in the parade. Right, Conrad?
That is true. We look forward to this parade, and we think that it's going to be a good one. There was a delay, but sometimes the delay is things we need. So this is a beautiful day for it.
Look at the people that have gathered here, Conrad. Look down the street at the people, the wall to wall down there.
That is true. They all looking forward to the parade, I know, because there will be several John Deere units in the parade, old ones as well as some new ones.
Right, and we'll tell you everything, all of the features about the particular tractors that roll by. And how many people would you say is here already?
Oh, it's quite a crowd. I'm not sure exactly what it might be, but I would say a couple of 3,000 would be a good guess. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I say 10,000 people have gathered here all the way down, because as far as we can see from now, there's about 7, 8 deep down there.
Yeah, it's quite a big crowd. Kids are really enjoying it too. You look at them, they running around, enjoying the sunshine and looking at the tractors.
It's a different day today from last year. Last year, you remember, it was windy, cold.
That is true, and this warm sunshine makes you feel good and look forward to a good day too.
Right, and that's the reason I have on a coat, because this morning was a cold morning, 38 degrees in my house this morning with frost all over the place. So it's fall of the year, and we're in November. Today being November 14th, and they had to postpone the Cotton Gin Festival for 1 week, since last weekend was a washout.
That is true. It was terrible weather, and they made a good decision, and they made it in time that they could notify everybody, so it worked out extremely well.
I walked down to the concession area, and they have a great array of concessions here on the square in Boswick.
About anything you can think of to eat and enjoy, not only for the kids but for the adults also.
Right, they have a good array of the items for people to enjoy at the display on the square right here in Boswick, Georgia. The opening ceremonies have just been held here in Boswick, Georgia for the Cotton Gin Festival. The gin has just closed down, and the fact that you hear the sirens in the background, and the parade is about to begin, so everything is go here, right, Conrad?
That is true. We're looking forward to all the two-cylinder tractors, all the John Deeres that come through. But right now we're going to enjoy looking at this Chevrolet, the sheriff's car. That's a 55, a beautiful example of a 1955 Chevy.
That's the kind that they used to chase bootleggers in, right?
Oh, that's true. Chase them down as best they could.
And fire apparatus from right here in Morgan County, the Morgan County Fire Department, Boswick, Georgia. That's where it's all happening today, and I know that you are sitting back and you are looking at some of the festivities going on here today. As I told you, the gin just shut down a few minutes ago. That was in observance to the opening ceremonies, where they had the national anthem and singing down from us, and a crowd of people are here. A lot of people are here, and here comes our first tractor.
Yes, that's a fairly recent example of a John Deere pulling a trailer with some wheat on it, wheat straw, when the kids are enjoying themselves.
Mayor City of Boswick, Georgia. So they have quite a few bales of hay on there.
The Grand Marshal, is that Julio? That's what it Looks like the sign says at WMOQ.
Well, here comes the Cotton Princess, or the Cotton Queen, and of
Arthur
course,
Joe Patton,
okay,
riding in an old Cadillac convertible.
that is a long vehicle.
Oh, I tell you what, the Yank Tank, as they've been called.
Yank tank. All right. Milton, he is the House of Representative here.
I don't recognize some of these.
I don't either. The music situation there in that particular car. Here comes an old Army deuce and a half. They call him a 2.5 ton vehicle.
Yes, that's a big one too.
Oh yeah. Would you believe I used to drive one of those when I was in the Army?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I rode one many a mile.
Yeah. I drove one a lot of miles too. Especially between here and Fort Stewart, Georgia and back.
Here's some more people that's enjoying themselves in the trailer with some wheat straw sitting down. All the kids are enjoying themselves, waving.
And the Kubota tractor pulling the event with a bucket on front. So there's no identification of the group of people that's on the trailer that the Kubota tractor is pulling.
Boy, that's one that's been rebuilt and repainted. It looks good. It's a win-me situation. I guess you can bet some chances on that one. And
what year model?
87.
They said it's an 87.
87, good.
But it's been rebuilt and it looks good.
Tri-County, that's the club that is in that golf cart. We're looking at the Arab people now. The Arabs. They're always here. And he's pulling a wheelie.
I tell you what, it looks like it's made to pull those wheelies.
I hope he didn't run over anybody.
Oh, I tell you, looks like he's in well control of it.
Arab, and they are from the area.
Temple.
Right. They
love to play in parades like this.
Yes, and they do a good job.
To see a burned or crippled child, smiles make us trying to work enjoyable.
Another Chevrolet pickup truck, and the Loganville Loganville Springs got all the simulated animals in there.
Oh, look at that Model A. Isn't that something? I bet that's a 30 model.
Yes, slick as can be. Look how quiet it is.
Oh, notice that trunk on the rear. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that goes back a long way. More Yarrow temples, right? More Yarrow temple cars, and Shriners Hospital advertising for that. And you see that on television, the commercial they have there. A lot of good-looking vehicles here by the Shriners.
An old international pickup.
How far back does that go?
That goes back into the 40s, I believe.
Look at that long bed.
Long bed.
Yeah.
And it fits between the tires too.
And the horse parade right now.
I tell you what, horses,
beautiful horses. Beautiful horses. A lot of people gathered today. Thousands and thousands of people.
To the Tucson Club area.
Well, we have the another truck here, another older truck, and it's a flatbed truck instead of a pickup type. Rocky Hill Farms of Boswick, Georgia, North Georgia Two-Cylinder Club. You're familiar with them. That's a cotton picker.
One-row cotton picker. That's
right.
One that's mounted on the tractor. That's probably a 50. Goes back to 55, 56. One-row cotton picker.
Here comes
then they went to a two-row.
Two-row.
Cotton picker. It's also a little more. It's a mounted one, but it's a little more integrated into the tractor.
Well, I'm glad they invented cotton pickers. They invented cotton pickers after I quit picking cotton.
Boy, the G is a real popular one. That's probably a mid 40s, maybe a late 40s model. Model A. With a battery there just in front of the steering wheel. It's probably about a 44, 45 model. And another A. You notice those tractors do not have a 3-point hitch. That came in, you can add one, but it not come one from the factory.
That's an old one.
Dan Bennett in Good Hope. He's been running that for the last 10 years, so I'm familiar with that particular one. 1936 B model. Has a big drawbar on it for pulling. When I started with Deere, the 50 was the tractor that I started and worked with the first year that I was with Deere. The MT came along from the new John Deere factory after the war, World War II, and they built in 1949.
And there's spreader behind it.
The last Dubuque tractor, which is a vertical engine, was a 1959 model. There's a 430 just passed. And a 630 here is a Waterloo version. The 630, that's 58, 59, and some 60, 1960 models.
Here's a small one.
Yeah, H model. That was the smallest Deere had up until the MT came along.
Here comes an antique.
Here's one that really catches my heart. That was one of the first ones that I worked with in the bigger line, pulling large harrows, plows, as well as a scraper. Notice that straight stack on that G. Gives a good sound. That's a good smooth running one. Farmall H, that's real popular back in the days when I first started with Deere. They have it really looking good, don't they?
Yeah, really looking good. That Farmall is a 4-cylinder. How many cylinders do most John Deeres have?
Up until 1960, all of them were 2 cylinders. Ran anywhere from cubic inches to 156 all the way up to 354. That's the G model. Can you imagine the size of those pistons?
Can you imagine that? They have to be big because they're carrying so much and pulling whatever they're doing with them. They have to have a great motor.
B model was by far the most popular for the farms back in the late 30s and the 40s because it fit most of the small farms here in the South.
Cultivation tractor.
Correct. There was a planters, cultivators, harrows, all that.
Here's my favorite, the M Farmall.
M Farmall.
4-cylinder engine.
It was a good one too. Farmall see a good cultivating, good garden tractor. Got that one well built. You notice how quiet it is?
Right.
It also has a power shaft on the rear.
That's a different color Farmall.
Well, that's a little cub they used it.
Alice Chalmers.
You notice that the 2-cylinder club is not only a club of John Deere's, but it's a club of all antique tractors. Not only Farmall, Alice Chalmers.
That is a good looking M Farmall.
Things like that, but it's also the one that's known for its John Deere's. Here comes a G that's been rebuilt. Look, notice the chrome stacks on it. Chrome stacks, intake and exhaust. Shines like new money, does it not?
Right, yes. Really shining too. They keep them really shining. And this one on a low boy trailer.
.40-20, that's one of John Deere's best efforts, and that is an inline engine. That's a 6-cylinder engine.
This is a Ford tractor. Is that
Ford tricycle, which is very unusual for Ford. They did make them. The number on it is 960, but it was a very popular model. Oh, he got that one fixed up. Another B model with a seat on the rear of it. Listen to that and purr.
Right. Smooth running. Here comes the, has a wide front end.
Wide front end, that's called a BW for wide front end. Pulling a trailer with all the kids, they really enjoying it.
Another Ford tractor.
Yeah, little old red belly.
N is this?
9N, I think is what that
Right.
one is, but it's the N series anyway.
Right.
Painted yellow, that's the industrial version of the John Deere 40. State of Georgia owns several of those for mowing highways, the banks and so forth.
Was that Georgia colors? They just made them especially for the transportation department.
You notice that the yellow one also has a 3-point hitch on it. You can hook up rotary cutters, plows, harrows, and things of that nature. That is Chalmers, garden tractor.
Grasshopper, right?
That's what it looks like. Boy, that 530 is really dressed up.
The General. So what make is it?
It looks like it's a Cleveland tractor. That's one that I'm not, I didn't demonstrate against any of those, but I ran against the D12 out of Chalmers quite a bit. Especially in the small versions of 40s, 420s, and 430s.
There's a lot of big tractors in this parade.
Got that one looking good.
Have more B John Deere's than...
Yeah, B's by far the most popular two-cylinder tractor of the A's, B's, the lettered series. Another good Alice Chalmers Super A. That was another good.
What about this big one coming right here? 4755.
That goes back to the 70s with dual tires on it. I know that gentleman. He works at Stribling's Country Store.
Really? Okay.
Driver of that 4755. A new John Deere pulling a wagon. 4620. That came along after the 4020s.
Look at this one. It's got the big claws on front.
Yeah, that's for picking up trash and debris, clearing an area of logs, limbs, and things of that nature.
What about bale hay?
Oh yeah, it could do that, but it's better situated for picking up debris.
Okay. Well, here comes the loud one.
You don't see a lot of these. You go back to the 30s. F20. I remember that MT, and the driver of that one, his name is Paul Bryan.
Well, you see them. A lot of John Deere's tractors in the parades now. That's
Ford that he's working on now. It runs good.
That's an old tractor.
Ford was the first one with the Ferguson system to develop the 3-point hitch.
That was the 8N or 9N?
Right after the war, yes. Right after the war, they came along with the Ferguson system, which Ford worked with them and made the 3-point hitch. And then within 4 or 5 years, just about everybody had it.
This one has a blade on front.
Pushing dirt, spreading gravel, and if they happen to have it up north, they can push snow with it.
What about that plow on back?
Yeah, it's a one bottom plow. Looks like it's about 14-inch plow. Works good in the sandy loam soil in the South Georgia.
That's a good looking farmall too.
Yeah, he's got it up two-tone. Now here's a very unusual deer. There's not a lot of these made. It's a high crop, wide front end, and it's also an LP, liquid petroleum gasoline for it. 720, and those are very rare.
Powerful looking tractor.
Those tractors have somewhere around 60 horsepower. 720 diesel. I spent many an hour with a 720 diesel pulling harrows, platters, plows, and things of that nature.
Alice Chalmers, they have quite a few tractors out there, but not as many as the John Deere.
That is correct. That one needs a little paint job, but it really runs smooth, doesn't it?
Right.
Another John Deere 50. They were built from 56 through 54 through 56.
They really keep the John Deere's really shiny, boy. They look brand new.
They spend a lot of time getting those units that look that good, polish them, and they haul them usually in a enclosed truck, especially like this particular 720 diesel here.
Powerful tractor.
Alice Chalmers one time was a very popular one, especially in small models, because it was so good at use on general duty around the farm, as well as gardens and small plots of that nature, truck farming, things of that nature. Farm old Cub, you know, those with mowers still bring a pretty good price. I haven't checked them out in the last 3 or 4 years, but
That's what
they always have a good sale value.
It's what they call a belly mower.
Yeah.
Here's a Kubota. It is a nice tractor, pulling a trailer loaded with people, and the fact that the trailer is well built too. And this coming up here.
Notice the tires on this particular unit, how it bounces.
Right.
Those are Keen and Rice tires.
The wider tires give more grip than the slim
The
tires.
tread is deeper.
Right.
The tread is deeper and works in the mud and where rice is grown.
Right.
And when you put it on pavement, the distance between them is so great it makes it bounce. Late model Cub.
Right.
B.F. Avery. That was one that I think came from Canada. Looks like I think it's a 2-cylinder, but it's
International.
Might be a 2-cylinder version.
Another M Farmall. Boy, does that make me homesick.
Yes. I spent many a day in the field opposite one of those, demonstrating deers of different models and styles.
The weather has been tremendously good.
Oh, isn't it enjoyable? Not too hot, not too cold, and just an enjoyable day to be out and to be in Boswick, Georgia.
More tractors coming on. This is John Deere, another John Deere coming on.
They're gonna give us a second round of them. Look at that, they've got a sign on it, 1937.
Another Farmall tractor. That thing is beautiful.
Alice Chalmers did build a big tractor, didn't they?
Yeah, huge.
Here's one we haven't seen yet. John Deere LA. 2-cylinder, built by Waterloo. Sounds good, doesn't it?
You're right. How many cylinders?
2 cylinders.
An old Farmall.
Yeah, it looks like an M. I bet it's used today too because it has that used look. You can count the revolutions on this one, just listen.
Sounds great.
1935 A model.
Now that's something the company will not stand behind, is a manure spreader.
That is true. Another G model. That's a real popular one. That one come along in the early 50s. One of the 1952, one of the last years of the G model. Then the 40 came along in 53 and 54.
Well, they're still coming in. There's a gap, like there was a few minutes ago. There's a gap in the parade, so they eventually coming on here. It's better to have a gap, I guess, than just running continuously, because some of the tractors are actually older than some of the others that we've seen. This is an old tractor.
You know, tractors of that age do not have power steering, but it does have a rock shaft on it. A rock shaft fits on the top of the transmission case, and you can attach different arms to it, so you can carry different items like toolbars and attach planters and things to that. Oh, here's the one that I spent many, many hours operating, pulling large harrows, plows, scrapers, and things of that nature.
Well, how's the driving on a wide front end compared to a close-up?
I love the sound of that one.
Here comes the case, IH.
That's a fairly new one too. Air-conditioned cab, climate control, I should call it.
Radio in it, has a radio.
Probably has
antenna.
a place to keep water, coal, and things of that nature.
8-in forward tractor.
Old red belly. Another MT. MT means it's a tricycle model. A regular M is a low with wide front end. Well, here comes another one.
Well, it's amazing that the people that are on the trailers that the tractors are pulling, they have no identification on the trailers. So we have to guess at what group of people that they are. And sometimes we cannot tell you because we don't know.
When I first started with deer, 1955, at Deer Acres in Monroe, it was a training farm of about 1,500 acres that we had all kinds and all types units in there. They formed the industrial division in the South in 1957, and this was the 40-10 here. Yellow is one of the first units that we received.
That's the Ferguson. And that's the parade for sure, because the Sheriff's Department is pulling up. The people are dispersing back down to the main square. So it's been a really good parade, not as long as some of the other parades that have been held here at the Congen Festival in Boswick, Georgia, but everybody has seemed to enjoy this today, and the weather has cooperated really good. One more tractor I see, and that one probably made a circle and came back again.
That's looks like an orchard without the protection on it. Low slung like that, like a D model of previous models.
So again,
very unusual too. It's not like the others because it's so long slung, so it works good in orchards.
And the people are scattering, going down to the main area. And when I say the main area, down where everything goes on here in Boswick, even though the gin shut down before the parade started, it's still quiet, and they have a lot of activity going on at the gin whenever the gin and cotton.
Looks like now, it looks like it's beginning to start back.
Right.
Running again.
And do you know how many acres of
Thanks for the goodies.
how many acres of cotton that Mr. Ruark plants here, and also in surrounding counties?
I noticed that as we was driving down, there's several fields that need picking, so to speak. They white. Most of them are defoliated, and they're going to pick them, I assume, just as quickly as they have a chance after it dries out enough after the rains.
Right, the rain sure did cause a delay on ginning cotton, because you just cannot gin cotton if it's wet. So remember that, and the fact that if you see cotton with long locks of cotton, it's because of the wet weather that we've had here in this area for the past 2 weeks, and everything right now is opening up, and they're ginning cotton, they're picking cotton, and they'll pick cotton all the way through the January month, I'm sure, because they're so far behind right now.
You remember that there was 2 cotton pickers that came along in the front of the parade. They're parked down in the display area, and we can go down and take a look at them there. Maybe we can get some more close-up pictures. They are very unusual. They're 1 row and 2 row, and all current John Deere cotton pickers now is going to be 4 and 6 row. That's the progress that's made in the last 20 years in picking cotton.
Well, when I was on the farm, I was a 1 row cotton picker.
Amen, brother.
I tried my best to pick 200 pounds of cotton in 1 day. I picked cotton as hard as I could, and sometimes I'd be carrying 2 rows. You know how much cotton to pick in a day after all of that hard work?
I never could pick 100 pounds a day. Of course, I was very young, but I didn't put my heart into it. But I tell you what, I wasn't much of a cotton picker.
Well, evidently I was not, because I could work all day picking hard as I could and picked 180 pounds of cotton. And a lot of people, if you see people out there picking now with a pick sack, they'd say, what are they doing out there in that field?
That is true.
So,
now let's go down and take a look at the cotton pickers and other tractors. There's the yellow ones I want to see and reminisce a little bit, because I spent so much time with them. We'll step down and see those, and who knows what might happen. We may wind up making an interview of some of those. We'll just have to wait and see. Hello, my name is Conrad Barnes. I'm a member of the North Georgia Two-Cylinder Club. We're taking a look and standing beside Ronnie Hargrave here, who is the owner of this cotton picker. We're going to take a look at it. I have some personal history with this particular unit. It goes back to 1955, when I first started with Deere at Deere Acres in Monroe. We received one of those units, one of those test units that we used there at the farm in Monroe to pick the cotton with. Not only did we use that unit, but we had to transport it in different places, and it was easy to do to move it around. There's several features and things on this unit, and I'm going to ask Ronnie, if he will, to tell us where it came from, how you're using it, what's going on with it, and just how generally it picks cotton efficiently. Ronnie?
Okay, I bought this picker approximately 7 or 8 years ago out of Hinesville, Georgia. It was on an onion plantation down there, and the guy had it advertised for sale, and I was familiar with it because I'd run one and owned one back in the 70s on my own farm, and I bought this one to restore. And Conrad, correct me if I'm correct, but the 22 has a 14 bar front drum and a 12 rear drum, and the 122, it came out later with a 12 bar and a 12 bar.
That's correct.
If I understand, it was because John Deere was trying to build a more economical unit for the farmer.
Pick more cotton from the stalk and not stretch it out so much.
Okay. And but this is a 22 picker. And we've actually run it on my farm after I got it restored. I've picked 12 acres consistently for the last 3 years, picking 30 to 35 bales for the 12 acres. So it'll pick high quality cotton. It'll pick 3 and 4 bales an acre, no problem.
Well, that's great. Now, there's several features of this unit that's very unique. And the Deere was developing this before they got into the more professional models that you see, like in red, 2 and 3 rows. Now, what I'd like to do is to talk about the picker head itself. Yes. You notice that on the inside of the unit,
open.
Look on the inside of the unit. Not only does it rotate around in a circle, but each one of those bars rotate too, with barbs on them. Those barbs is what picks out the cotton, and then the plate,
the
doffer plate, then it pulls the cotton off of the bar, and the fans then pick it up and blow it into the hopper that you see on top up here.
This picker has new spindles and new doffers, so it's been.
There's quite a bit of time-consuming effort to change all of those, because there's quite a few of them. There's 6? I think it's 6 bars on there with 8 or 10, 12 bars on each line, and those barbs have to be changed. They get worn quite a bit and won't pick the cotton as it should.
2 or 3 seasons on my acreage. They begin to get dull. So.
Yeah, you can sharpen them for a bit, but it takes a special machine to do it, so you can get the barbs in the right place. Yeah. Some other features on this. This is a tractor-mounted unit. It's raised and lowered with a 3-point hitch. It can be mounted on the 50 or the 60 model. The one that I was familiar with and worked with was the one that was a 50.
Yes.
60 would give it more power and make it carry bigger tires and things of that nature. Now, you'll also notice that the hopper on top will move over, and it swings over to the side so that you can dump the cotton into any kind of operation on the ground, in a truck, any way that you can to take it to the gin. What is your effort for doing that?
Well, we use a wagon, a cotton wagon, but it has to be a low wagon for this particular picker to be able to dump into. Some of the wagons today are a little bit taller for the newer pickers, and we have to plow a ditch to drop it over into to be able to dump into it.
Do you have any problem getting the material out of the?
Oh no,
it falls right out.
Sometimes it comes too fast. And it dumps over the wagon, so we have to be careful.
This tractor is a straight gas model.
That's
correct. You don't have to use gasoline to start and then switch over to diesel.
Right.
Distillate, I'm trying to, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's been a good tractor for us, and we've done very little work on the engine. Did a valve job on it.
When you drive it from place to place, you drive it forward, to raise the basket, and then drive forward. Say if you're going to go 2 or 3 miles or something like that.
You can drive it. I have driven it from Watkinsville to Boswick, but this year we built a trailer, a dolly, to tow it on.
That's by far the best way to carry it, because it does have bar tires on it, and they wear extremely fast when you get into hard ground or asphalt.
Right.
Is it power steering?
No, sir. This one is not, but it drives very, very well.
I don't want to run over.
It's manual steering.
That's not Mark. We thought it was.
No, you didn't interrupt anything. It's just a lot of fun to be around the tractors and all the units and things of this nature. Anything else that you might like to add to the?
Well, my grandson, he helped me restore this. He's 12 years old now, and since he's been about 10, he's been able to drive this unit himself. So
is that right? That's great. You know,
he enjoys running it.
that's the fun part of the whole thing.
That's it.
Working with the grandkids.
That's it. And he's helped me on several other tractor projects, and so he's really enjoys working on John Deere's.
But this one also runs off the PTO of the tractor, does it not?
That's correct. That's correct. It, all belt driven.
And the steering wheel and everything is it still there? You can still operate it as a tractor and drive it forward.
Right.
You don't have to sit up in the controls.
That's right.
For the
we just take the take the cushion off the high seat and bring it down to the lower seat and put it in forward gear, and we can transport it.
Ronnie, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Conrad. I appreciate it.
And the video will be available in about 10 days. If you wish one, we can get you one.
All right. Thank you very much.
And I'm here with Steve Watkins, who is the owner of this unit that you see here in the video. It's a 720 John Deere high crop, which is very unusual, but what makes it even more unusual is that it's an LP model. And I'd like to ask Steve some questions and he give some comments about this particular unit. Steve, where did you first acquire this unit?
A friend of mine that I've restored quite a few tractors for passed away. His widow asked me to sell his collection, and she gave me this tractor for having her sell all of his collection.
So you restore tractors not only of this variety, but any tractor that anybody wants restored?
I'll restore a pine cone if it pays good.
I know what you mean. This unit is the one that has a float ride seat. It has the pancake muffler. It has a wide front end, and it has new bar tires. That's part of is that part of the restoration that you did?
The rear tires were on it. We changed over to most of the high crops that you see has the single rib, and so we bought the single rib from Emmy Miller tire and had those put on. These are the front tires are 20s.
They do look a little bigger than what would normally have been on there, which is a multi-rib tire.
Right.
Is what most of them use. So a single rib like this will make it follow in the furrow a little bit better than the other. Did you have any problems with the engine?
The engine, no. Ignorance, yes. A propane engine works. The choke works opposite of a gasoline engine. I rebuilt the regulator, rebuilt the carburetor, but it still would not start on its own without being pulled. Read all about the regulator, rebuilt it, done everything perfectly. Carburetor the same way. Done some more reading. As my dad said, when all else fails, you need to put your head in the book. He was speaking of the Bible. I'm using that as far as the manual. Yeah. Read all about the regulator, everything's perfect. Read about the carburetor, and that's when I read the part that said the propane carburetor choke is opposite. In other words, when you pull it completely out, you're shutting off or leaning the fuel mixture. When it's colder weather, the oil's thicker in the breather, it's harder to suck the air, so it pulls more fuel. So I put the book down, went down there, pushed the choke in because it's still out from trying to crank it last time, and hit the starter, and it cranked, and I've never touched the choke since. Fired
right up.
Yes, sir.
You learn something every day. I didn't realize that because I didn't spend a lot of time working with LPs, but I was glad to understand and to get that. You don't have any problem getting fuel for it?
There's a station close to the house. I usually wait on things like this. On the way home, I'll go fill it up. So that works real well. A propane engine is one of the cleanest engines that you'll have. You can take it apart and it'll be just as clean as the day it was built.
Correct.
You don't have the problem with carbonizing your spark plugs as you would with a gas engine.
Yeah. You don't get quite as much power from the fuel as gasoline, but
well, actually, the book shows it's a little. The LP has a little more power. It's more compression. It's a 50 horse.
Well, yes, that is the real benefit of the LP.
Right.
I never spent a lot of time working with LP, but there was a one place I served deer in Montgomery, Alabama for quite some time, and in the Selma area, and all the farmers over there wanted to use LP, and that was the only place that I ran into it. I spent most of my time with deer with the industrial division, and we did not use LP in the industrial division. That was all diesel engines.
And also a plus with gasoline engines, you have to worry about the ethanol gas going bad when you only go to an event every couple of months or whatever. Yeah. With propane, it's as good as it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. I was noticing the tires. You said that they came with the unit. What size are those tires?
14.938s.
14 38s, which is it a drop axle on it?
Drop axle 1 foot.
No.
The tractor is actually 1 foot taller than its predecessor of a row crop or a wide front.
What is the clearance underneath?
31 inches, I believe.
You can not only give you a good clearance, but it works well if you're working tomatoes or any crop.
You can get above and see what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the reason for the high crop. And what makes it so valuable and so unique is that LP is completely different from the diesel that they're made in the high crops, and high crops itself, there were not a whole lot of those.
Sure, sure.
I was reading the serial numbers the other day, and I found out that the LPs probably less than 5% of the total production.
The LP is 12. The diesel is 9. If this was an original.
Yeah. Steve, it's been nice talking to you, and we'll have a video of this in about 8 or 10 days. And if you like a video, we will be glad to
yes, sir.
To give you one. Not only we enjoyed talking with Steve about the high crop, but taking notice that it is a bright, shiny, beautiful unit. He does a good job of restoration. Steve's going to crank the unit for us so we can hear it run, what the difference is, and listen to it now. It sounds just like a deer, but it's running on LP. Almost count the revolutions. That's a perfectly carburetor gasoline, LP gasoline unit. It's running like it should when it flaps that cap. Thank you.